Shalom Yashrala, this your brother Dawudah, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here lesson, basically dealing off the movie Slumdog Millionaire. All right, now this is a very old movie, and I encourage you brothers to watch this here movie, But nevertheless, and this is going through, especially the times that we're going through right now, as far as, the trials and the tribulations that we're going through at this point in time, you have to understand that the Most High is bringing you through, a refining process. Now, when you watch this here movie, Slumdog Millionaire, all right, basically, if you don't really know about this situation, it's a story about some people, I believe, out in India or whatnot, and these people, the main character basically was living in the slums, right? Really, really poor people, beggars, and so on and so forth, and people would look down on them as if they just had no real guidance, no real experiences in life. They was just the bottom of the barrel, just begging for money or whatnot. No real formal education on anything, right? Now, you had a working class of people as well in the movie, but these people also, they will watch this show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire because it was a fantasy dream because of the fact of they could finally make enough money to get out of their predicament. They still pretty much was living in hell, but it was, at the bare minimum of, the survival rate, more or less to say. But this is the one main thing that they look forward to because this was their lottery ticket up out of there. So the movie starts out where basically the guy, the slumdog guy, who's from the slums, the bottom, right? He's pretty much on the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and he's up to the last question. Before he can answer the last question or whatnot, they take him to the back room and they interrogate him, they torture him, and so on and so forth, because they're under the impression that he had to have cheated some kind of way. Now, if you don't know about the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the way it goes is they ask you some questions, right? And every question that you get right, you get some money for it. Now, all right, so you get a question right. Let's say you got question number 3 right. Now, you got all your money all the way up to question number 3. In order to go on to number 4, you have to wager that money back again. And so you're giving it up for an opportunity. If you miss question number 4, you lose all your money beforehand, right? Or you could take, the money that you gained from question 1 through 3 and walk away. So basically, he had got all the way up to the second to the last answer, and they was just trying to figure out why the hell you still going? How do you know all these answers and so on and so forth? You're the complete underdog. You don't have no formal education. How the hell do you know all these things? Well, the moral of the story was the fact that his experiences and the hell that he was going through in his life, all right, basically gave him all the answers to what he needed. For an example, there was one scene in there where they asked him, well, here's 2 scenes, but nevertheless, there was one scene in there where they asked him what object was in the, like, I guess the right hand of their God, right? And he answered and said, I wish I didn't know the answer to this question. Now, the reason he knew the answer to this question was because in their area or whatnot, you had, the main religion, but then him and his family were actually Muslims. Now, the locals came storming into their little camp or whatnot and was beating and killing the people. And he actually seen his mom get smashed in the head and she wound up dying. This was something that a little boy wound up witnessing. And as they're running for their life or whatnot, people getting set on fire. He's running for his life at a very traumatic time in his life. Again, think about this as all the hell that you're going through, right? He's running around the corner. He sees this little kid dressed up in the image of this here God. And he remembered the image. That image was seared in his head, what was in that God's hand. This is how he was able to know the answer to their question. Wasn't because he was studied and went to school or whatnot, just know everything, but through a traumatic, life-altering event in his life, it wound up giving him the information that he would need further in life. All right, and another one, they asked who's on the front of the $100 bill, right? And he knew the answer to that, but he didn't even know who was on the front of, I believe, his own currency's money or whatnot. And the guard was like, how the hell you don't know who's on the money of your own currency, but you know who on the front of the $100 bill? Well, there was a point in time, now you got to remember this guy was a beggar. Then he became a hustler, and he started hustling the people at the Taj Mahal as far as being a tourist guide or whatnot, right? And some of the people paid him in a $100 bill. Now, he was basically kidnapped with some other kids or whatnot and escaped. And he seen this one kid, the punishment was they was going to pop their eyes out, you know what I'm saying, or whatnot. So the kid had his eyes popped out. The kid wound up coming back around and seeing this guy again. And he started talking to him. So he, was, trying to break his homie, this little kid that he also knew of, with some money because he begging and poor or whatnot. So he's like, here's $100. I need this information. He's like, man, it's not a $100 bill. And he was like, well, who's on the front of it? What's the guy's name on the front? And what's it say at the bottom? And he had to actually sit there and look at it and read it And so this is how he got the information to his head, right? So through his bad experiences or whatever, whatnot, he was able to get all these here answers correct. All right, now the real flip side of the story was the only reason he wasn't even caring about his poverty and all the shit that he was going through like that. The one thing that he was really doing all this for was throughout this all, he had found this here woman to comfort him or whatever, whatnot, he bonded with and that he really fell in love with. All right. Now he knew that this woman would one day, after finding her and all kind of crazy shit happening and separating them, you know what I'm saying? He would go on this show because he knew for certain, he had the faith for certain that this here woman would be watching the show. This is how he was going to wind up getting out to her, right? Again, there's plenty of scriptures that come to mind and things that's in the Bible that we think about. Remember thy first love, or why you doing these things? You know what I'm saying? A righteous man falls down 7 times, but he gets back up. He kept losing this here woman, but then he found her again, and so on and so forth. Never let this here woman go, and he put his whole life on the line for this here one treasure, this one riches, a set of riches that he wanted more than anything else, man. He was willing to go all the way to the end of it. He was willing to just to go on this show and get all the questions either right or wrong, and the woman never to even be watching this here show, just for a chance to see, hopefully she might be able to get it. He called out a friend at the very end or whatever, whatnot, and the phone might not have rang or whatever, whatnot, and that would have just been his last chances. And there was another thing he said in the movie twice where he was like, look, he met the girl, she was living with this big drug dealer or whatever, whatnot. He's like, look, every day I'm gonna come to this train station, I'm gonna wait for you at 5 o'clock or whatever, whatnot. He literally went out there off of straight faith, man. Every day at 5 o'clock, every day at 5 o'clock. He wasn't guaranteed that he was gonna make it, but it was out of hope, man. Just like how we're in this here thing, we're not guaranteed a seat on the chariot, but we do this out of hope, man. All right. So nevertheless, I want to go into this here lesson based off of those things, because this is basically the whole moral of that story is the whole moral of what we're in this here thing doing, man, growing and building in faith, man. So let's start out here. Zechariah 13 and verse 8, it says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein, and I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried, and they shall call on my name, and I will hear them say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my power. So going into this about the 1/3 is going to be brought through the fire, all right, and being refined, all right. When you have these metals, gold and silver, and you put them in the furnace, all right, you heat them up. All right, just imagine your body going in there. All right, you're going to go through this here pain to be refined to get all the impurities out. And this is the same thing that basically old boy wound up going through. All right, 2/3 that was out there wasn't able to make it through all those things. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so forth. There's a scene in there where they out there freezing cold or whatever, whatnot, and it's raining and they're little kids, and the 2 brothers wind up sleeping in this little a storage container, and there's a little girl that's out there as well too, and she's just out there in the rain, just shivering or whatever, whatnot, man. Hey, but that's what she had to go through or whatever, whatnot. But then she was brought in, and she was with all these horrible different men or whatever, whatnot, throughout her whole life. But there was actually one man that was out there that really, really loved this chick or whatever, whatnot, and really went to the end of the world for her, man. All right. But nevertheless, this is the same thing that we're going through. You can't go through these processes or whatever, whatnot, and feel like, oh, it's the end of the world, and why am I going through all this here torture and torment, man? You have to understand that we're being raised up to be leaders, man, be the gods of the universe, knowing right from wrong, why we do these things, man, why we shouldn't go off, why all these things are necessary, all right? It's a building process. It's not going to be nice. It's not going to be easy. Any and everybody, could have got on the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but if they didn't have to go through those experiences, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, watch the movie. Not everybody went through the same exact horrible experiences. Like when you watch the movie and see all the horrible experiences that he went through, you're like, I wouldn't trade my life for his life or whatever, whatnot. But guess what? Those shitty experiences in his life built him up to be able to answer all those questions or go through all those trials or whatever, whatnot, and pass every test with flying colors, to the point where people are like, yo, you got it all together. You know everything or whatever, whatnot. You just the smartest man in the world. Like, no, I just had a really shitty life that I kept pushing through, and I kept learning from my mistakes or learning from the things that the experiences I was going through, and this built me up to who I am today. All right. So this is the same process that we're pretty much going through as well. All right. So let's go over to the book of Revelation. Revelation 1 and 3, it says, blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. So the scripture here is saying, blessed is he that readeth. All right. Because look, this is going to be your instruction manual. All right. Practice and rehearse these things. Or we can flip it back to the movie. Blessed is the man that go through those types of experiences, because one day you're going to have a great test that's going to actually get you out of all the things that you hate. All right. But are you going to be prepared for the answers, Everybody with these so-called good lives or whatever, whatnot, in comparison to the slumdog, they wish that they could all hit the lottery like that too. Because again, you had the people that was working in the little call center. Their lives was way better than the slumdogs. But guess what? None of them really knew the answers to none of the things that the slumdog knew, because they didn't have those experiences. They had a better life, and they would tell you, I wouldn't want to trade my life with his, but you don't get those experiences. All right, just like us in this here thing, man. All right, obviously we all going through hell and catching demons in here and there or whatever, whatnot. But our demons are different than the 2/3 demons. That's just for their punishment, man. All right, but for us, it's to build us up, man. All right, just like we just read, we're being refined and trodden into the furnace of adversity. You know what I'm saying? So that we don't keep caving into these things, man. A righteous man falls 7 times, but he get back up. He learned from those experiences. I ain't doing that shit no more. I ain't doing that shit no more, 2/3, they ain't going to acknowledge these things. They're going to be like, well, shit just happens, and it's just whatever, whatnot. It's somebody else's fault or whatever, whatnot. They just break down, But it says, blessed he that readeth, for they that hear the words of this prophecy and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. So let's go from there to Romans. Was it Romans 15? Yeah, Romans 15:4 says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, and that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. All right, so going into patience is long suffering. So again, you going through that suffering or whatever, whatnot. It says, for whatever things were written, blessed he that readeth. Why? Because the things that was written aforetime were written for what? Our learning, for us to elevate ourselves, all right, for instructions, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So even though we might be going through this refining process and the things that's fucked us up, the comfort that we get is going through the scriptures, looking at the guys that wind up calling on the Most High and seeing them being delivered. All right, we have things to look forward to. All right, to be able to look as an example. All right. This is Proverbs 4:7. It says, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting get understanding. So blessed he that readeth. All right, the things that was written aforetime was written for our learning and our understanding. So wisdom is the principal thing. Get the understanding of why these men went through these things and how it shaped them out to be in the end, and how it's being applied to your life, and how you apply these things in your life. All right, so you can have these experiences to keep going on. You come into this here truth. Again, you get all kind of demons on you or whatever, whatnot, emotional demons. You don't know how to control yourself and your countenance and everything like that. You have to build yourself up, because at certain points of times, you becoming a judge, you can't just let your emotions take over, man. So you have to understand how to be able to apply these things that you're going through, and all these different refining processes that you're going through. You're going to have multiple tests. You may stumble at these tests multiple different times, and you keep being put back into that test until you get it right. Then you understand. It's just like, as men, we grow up playing video games, and there's a certain level you keep falling over or whatever, whatnot, can't get past it. But then once you figure out, the best way to accomplish this here level is just to walk in the park. Oh, bro, you doing it wrong. You got to go through this door, grab this to go fight him with that, grab this key, you get that. You wasting your time, bro. You don't have enough health to do all this. So if you go through this door, it's going to take half his health away. Then you get this bodysuit of armor, and then you can just go over there and hit him one time, and he's dead. Simple as that. But what you're going to have to go through understanding to get these things, man. All right. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 33:6, it says, and wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy time, and the strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure. So going into, again, the movie Slumdog Millionaire, right? Wisdom and knowledge was the stability of his time. He had those life experiences and the trying of not to say just his faith, but, his character through what? These refining process, through these experiences, through the horrible times that he was going through, the ups, the downs, and the hard parts of life, the struggle in life, all right, and trying to strive to get better, you know what I'm saying? He just he kept his eye on the prize, at their woman, and in this here, we have our woman Sophia, which is, the wisdom of these scriptures, these words, and what we ultimately trying to please the Most High to gain salvation, man. All right, this is why we're going through all the different things that we're going through, but it's not just as simple as, oh, I hear, I believe, and that's it. No, man, you gotta, just like the times that we're coming into now, that the trying of your faith, the great temptation is coming over the whole earth, man. You're supposed to be building up faith and so on and so forth. So in order for you to build up faith, the Most High got to put you in compromising positions where you ain't got no choice but to depend on the Most High, man. All right, how can you ever have, in the monetary system, How can you ever have faith in the Most High that He got you monetarily if you always got the money to get yourself out of situations? If you had unlimited money, right? How can you ever be built up in the faith of the Most High that He can take care of you if you ever fall on hard times? If you never fall on hard times, man, you got to actually go through that adversity to be built up to understand. Like, look, when I ain't had shit, the Most High was actually there to provide for me, man. All right. It's like trying to say, hey, I don't feel like I'm gonna fall off this here bike. I got faith that I'm not gonna fall off this here bike, but you riding a bike with training wheels, man. All right. So it says, Isaiah 33:6, it says, and wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy time, and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure. So this is really the real treasures in life right here, man. These experiences and things like that, man. All right, let's close out with this in the book of Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach. Sirach 2:1, it says, my son, if thou come to serve Yahweh, prepare thy soul for temptation. All right, so if you want to grow in this and become somebody in this and become, have your eyes open, you're going to have to go through temptations and adversities and things like that. Learn self-control, self-discipline, and all these different things, right? So set thy heart aright and constantly endure. Why would you have to endure if everything was all easy, man? All right? And make no haste in time of trouble. So when the calamities start coming, don't just get up and try to run away from these things, man. Deal with these things, man. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. All right, going back to Slumdog Millionaire, man. Don't just give up when the first thing of adversity come upon you. Oh, his mama died. His mom died like the first scene, man. What do? Just sit over there with their mama dead body and crawl up and down, let the rest of the men kill them? No, they had a desire to live, man. All right, they didn't even know what was on the other side of life like that. They was slum dogs, man. That was all they was used to, bathing in how you say, fecal matter water, to run off of the water. Well, that was their beach and shit like that. They ain't know what a clean beach was. Hey, they seen the Taj Mahal and thought it was goddamn heaven. They ain't never seen nothing like that. That was, because they live in a shanty town. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? It's the faith, man. You have to understand in faith, man, the things that you're doing, you may not see your reward right now, but hey, it's the faith that's in there, all right? Verse 4, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. All right, so hey, when you go through your hardships and things like that, understand that this is going to be your growth period, man. All right, don't get all out of whack or whatnot. Obviously you got emotions and things like that's going to happen, but you got to, what, these things are happening to me because the Most High is building me up right now, man. All right, it says, for gold is trodden in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity, man. All right, so hey, how do you know that you can really keep your calm and your patience if you're not put into a position where you have to exercise those rights? How do you know you can really defend yourself and fight if you've never been put in a challenging position? All right, so in order for you to say, hey, I'm a man of the Lord, I'm strong, I got faith, and this and that, but if you never put in a compromising position, how can you ever exercise those abilities? How can you ever grow in those things unless you just being thrown out there to dry? And ultimately, in trying to grow in faith and having faith in the Most High and everything like that, those times and those predicaments, you're going to be thrown out there to the wolves, man. Let alone by your damn self and see what you really do. When you ain't really got shit to be able to get yourself up out of there, man. Most High's like, look, I'm going to just sit back over here, hide my face from him and see what he do. See if he actually call out upon me, you know what I'm saying, and see, what's really going on, man. So you're going to be put in really compromising positions, but nevertheless, it's for you to grow in, all right? It says, for gold is trodden in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy. Go not aside, lest you fall. All right. Ye that fear the Lord, believe him, and your reward shall not fail. All right. So, hey, just like in the movie Slumdog Millionaire, from his experiences and the things that he went through, he believed on that. Now, that wound up, instead of looking at the hell that he was going through and looked at it, I want to forget about all these things, man. No. He remembered on all the hell that he was going through, whatnot. And the quote-unquote worst parts of his life actually brought him to his heaven, man. The best parts of his life, man. All right. It says, ye that fear Yahweh, hope for good and everlasting joy and mercy. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in Yahweh and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear and were forsaken? Whom did he ever despise that called upon him? All right. So, hey, going into these, these trials and tribulations that you're going through, blessed he that reader. We got prime examples of multiple men that was thrown out there, what seemed to be to the wolves, Daniel in the lion's den, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. These was all compromising positions, but guess what? In order for the Most High to work for them in their favor, to be able to deliver them from out of their situation, they had to be put into a compromising position, man. You don't break when you put in this compromising position. You double down on faith, man. Let the Lord work. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that ruled well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.